Hey everybody, Leigh Calvert here with the Oxford Street Partners real estate team covering Southwest Washington State. Wanted to go over the 2023 real estate season. How did everything wrap up? What did it mean versus the other years? And I thought I'd drop in a 2024 forecast. All right, 2023, what happened? So we're going to go over number of sales, the month on month, a little bit of tracking on what happened with regards to the interest rate. Then we'll look at kind of what that meant versus prior years, and then we'll drop in with that forecast. I've never done a forecast before. I don't think it's necessarily been overly too relevant, but you know, and this really come back. This could come back to bite me at the end of the year, but seen a few forecasts go out there and I thought I'd give it a shot. Anyway, stay with me because I've thought this through. All right, so 2023, what happened? Well, overall, we saw 5,898 sales in Clark County. Month on month is going to come up there on the screen for you to review. And I thought I'd put next to it what the 30-year interest rate average was for that month as well. Because usually loans take about 30 days to process. So was there a correlating aspect to what happened with the interest rates versus the month sales? And I thought as we got towards the end of the year, I thought there was. So, you know, interest rates on average for the month crossed into sevens by August of 2023. Now, a lot of loan officers were noting, obviously, it's a lot slower in volume of sales. We obviously noticed it as well when you track the numbers. But the sale volume really started to deplete come September, which is a month after when the 7% plus interest rates had arrived to the market. Now, those interest rates have started to decline, as you can see, going into December. So it'll be really interesting to see what's going on with the sale figures for January 2024 to see if there is a boost, especially when you compare it to January 2023, which was the lowest volume of sales throughout 2023 in terms of what actually took place. So anyway, 491 sales a month on average happened for 2023. Absolutely super low number. We were averaging in the 700s for the last 5-6 years, I think it was, when you don't consider 2021. 2021 saw over 10,000 sales that took place that calendar year. So quite an anomaly. Anyway, so what does that mean for, how does that year compare to prior years? Well, I looked into all of the RMLS data, RMLS being the local MLS for Portland and Southwest Washington. So I looked at all the data. I went back to the year 2000 to try and see what it was like. Is history repeating itself? And again, stay with me here because this is going to be quite a bit of data. If you have questions, please feel free to comment. I'm sure there'll be some critiques. You're welcome to comment those as well. But I relatively think I've thought this through pretty clearly on this. Anyway, 2023, 5,898 sales. That was 27.99, let's say 28%, of a decrease in volume of sales versus 2022. We've never seen a decrease like that over the span of time that I recorded here on the data, so since the year 2000. The closest time we got to that was the 2008 market following the 2007 market. So the 2008 sales were 26.61% less than 2007. 2007 was also 18.82% less than 06. And 06 was 16.3% less than 05. So 05 to me represents the height of the prior phase of real estate sales in Clark County. There was over 9,100 sales in that year, which was a substantial increase over the prior years. Especially when you consider 2001, there was 5,718, which is pretty similar to the 2023 sales. So the cycle is kind of happening there. Now, what I also did was I took the population size of Clark County to try and get a representative idea of how the number of sales compared to the population, because 5,718 sales in 2001 still isn't a comparable situation to 2023 when you consider the population of Clark County in 2001 was just over 357,000. It's now 526,000. So the number of sales back then versus now, it just isn't the same. So I also then took a percentage rate of the population size of Clark County in consideration with how many sales took place, if that makes sense. So in 2001, when there was 5,718 sales, that represented a number of sales versus population of 1.6%. Okay. Fast forward to 2023, the 5,898 sales that took place, considering the population is now 526,000 and change. That represented only 1.12% of sales that took place versus the population size. The only time it's been lower than 1.12% was the 2008 market, where it was 1.09%. And everyone kind of regards 2008 as the worst year of real estate in Clark County and probably a lot of counties throughout the country. So although prices remain high relatively in Clark County and the population was growing, the 2023 market, which was a great market for a lot of agents, and a horrible market for quite a number more. They just published, Inman just released that 49% of real estate agents across the country only did one deal or 0 to 1 deal. Half the real estate agents in the United States did no more than one sale in 2023, which makes sense if other markets are similar, seeing these data points. So 2021 was the height of our market, just over 2% when you look at the number of sales versus the population size. The last time we saw more than 2% was 03, 04, 05. 05 was 2.3. That's absolutely phenomenal in terms of the size of the population for the area. 9,100 sales. We only got over 9,100 sales for 2 years, which was 2020 and 2021. Obviously, everyone remembers what was going on during that time. So here comes my forecast for 2024. When I look at this data, this is what I think is going to happen. So I increased the population because people are still moving to Washington State. U-Haul just published the total one-way, the most one-way moving states. So people were hiring U-Haul and just going one way. So they're not bringing it back. The truck's only going one way. Washington State finished 7th out of all of the states on that list. So still a high driving market for people to move to. People are still moving to the area. You're still seeing new construction going on various places around the county. Now it's Washington State. It's not just saying Clark County, but to be on that list in the top 10, I think it's reflective that everywhere is relatively seeing growth. There's obviously more places that you can move with, not just U-Haul, but it's a good representation as a lot of people like U-Haul as an option. Now, 2024, my prediction, here we go. And we'll see how this goes. And Probably have a lot of people arguing otherwise, but I reckon if you took a population growth rate of 1.39%, which outside of 2021 was roughly the average for Clark County. And actually, before I say something that I shouldn't, let's just double check that, because I'm going to take that out. And then let's take 05 and 04 out, because those were two crazy years. And gosh, I mean, population increase in the early 2000s was all over 2%. So outside of the 2% dates, let's do that. The average is 1.52% when you don't consider the years where we had a more than 2% growth rate. So 1.39%, I feel like I'm being fairly conservative with that. That would bring the population to 534,000 by the end of 2024. There's one prediction that will reach that volume of people. Then if the number of sales versus the population increases to 1.25%, okay? Now, the average over all those years is 1.66%. So I think I'm being relatively conservative again with that. And it would be somewhat reflective of what happened in 2009 following the low year of 2008. That would mean that there would be roughly 6,675 sales that take place in Clark County in 2024. That's 777 more sales. Now, that could be new construction, resale, it could be any of those, all documented through the RMLS. That's my prediction for 2024. I'm not tying that with a price. Prices, I think, have been relatively stable. For the last quarter of 2023, the average sale price in Clark County was $591,000. Now, it was influenced a little bit by the highest sale that's ever taken place for residential real estate in Clark County at $13.5 million. $13.5 million for Clark County. Absolutely phenomenal. Waterfront property. So it would slightly be impacted by that, especially when you consider for the last quarter, we saw about 1,232 sales. But pricing, I think, is going to remain relatively stable in 2024. They're voicing about interest rates coming down. I don't really know how much they're going to come down, but will it be better than staying in the sevens for a good portion of half the year? I hope so. I think, again, sales will be up. I think the population will be up. I don't see that changing. We've never had a negative in population since recording this data from the year 2000. So that's my prediction. Now, what can you do with that information? Well, if you're a seller, I think that's great news. I think the idea that more people are going to be moving to the area, more sales that will take place, that gives you a better chance of selling your property. Maybe you tried in 2023 and it didn't work out. I would not stop trying again in 2024. I'd also be mindful that if you're buying in the area, likelihood is more buyers are going to be in shopping as well. Still, with the interest rates, with the level of homes that are available on the market, it's not going to be a downward year, in my opinion. I don't think you can get much lower than what we saw in 2023. Now, devil's advocate. Let's say it did go lower, right? Is it going to be worse than the 2008 market? Well, when I look at the rate of decrease from 2005 to 2008, the 2005 market being the height of the market, we saw a decrease in total of about, 61% of the market from 2005 to 2008. If you look at the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, that reached a negative 50% of the market from 2021. So devil's advocate might say maybe there's another 10% of activity in the market that it could go down if you were really to mirror 2008. I suppose that is part of life, and there's always risk, and you never really know. That's why it's called a forecast. You know the weatherman. So we'll see what happens. But all in all, intriguing to go into 2024. You've got my prediction. Curious to see what yours is. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, want to chat more about the data, I love this stuff. I'm an Excel man, and I love reviewing data. I do this for our listings and reviewing pricing before properties go on markets. And yeah, anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know if you like more videos like this where it's data driven versus tips or anything like that. Please reach out, let me know, and I'm happy to publish this out there. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great start to your 2024. We'll see you again soon.